Congresswoman Barbara Lee represents what used to be the 9th, now it's the 13th district of California. That's Oakland, that's Northern California, Oakland, Berkeley, that whole area. And she's done so fiercely. She's done so with such a voice for the voiceless that everyone knows all of the accomplishments that she's made. And I just want you to know, Barbara, as a young member of Congress, she took me under her wing. Now, you know, Barbara Lee has this aura around her because it was in 2001 when the rest of Congress voted to authorize the use of military force, they call that an AUMF, to go to war in Iraq. There was only one person who voted no that day. Right. One. Yeah.
That's right.
And the world has proven her right. She said, when she took that vote, that she could not take a vote for military use of force because she knew that it would be used time and time again for other wars. To really use that vote that Congress took for what we thought was one war. It's been used now 30 times, isn't that right? 30 times. And so Barbara was right about that, but she got so many death threats. People wanted to bomb her congressional office. People wanted to bomb her home. Yes. She had Capitol Police around the clock for her. And I'd like to think that all of us have that courage to stand up. Right. But when you know something is right, yes, even when the world tells you that you must vote one way, she chose to stand alone, and her lone voice was the right vote. It was the right vote. You've been vindicated, Barbara. But you know what I love about you? With a smile, you say, well, now let's do something about it. And she's working hard in Congress right now to make sure that this president doesn't continue to use that same AUMF, that same authorization for military force to take us deeper into another war. And I want to thank you for your leadership, not only in the United States Congress, where she is the only African-American woman in leadership. Yes, she is. She is the only African-American woman at the leadership table with Nancy Pelosi and other Democrats fighting on our behalf. Elections have consequences. We do know that. And we also know that by ushering in a Democratic House majority, that we can do things on your behalf, like pass H.R. 4. It's passed out of the House thanks to so many wonderful folks and the grassroots effort. After all, that's what Selma reminds us. Selma reminds us of the importance of courage, the triumph of human courage, that ordinary Americans can collectively work together to achieve extraordinary social change. Barbara knows that because she's been mentored by the very best. Her very first convention, I think that's right, Democratic convention was in '72, where she was a delegate for Shirley Chisholm. To work for Shirley Chisholm and for Ron Dellum. She has worked for the best, and now we all get to sit at her feet and watch her work and learn from her advocacy. She does it best. Barbara, you have been not only a warrior in Congress, you were a warrior before that in the state legislature in California. And before that, you owned your own minority business. She's a minority business owner that employed over 500 people. You're about community building. You're about grassroots advocacy. And you never, ever, ever, ever forget where you come from. And that's why we love Barbara Lee. Yeah. So let's say it together. Barbara Lee speaks for me. Barbara Lee speaks for me. I want to welcome her to the Hall of Fame again to Selma. She comes year after year after year with John Lewis and Faith in Politics. And she not only comes by herself, she always brings some youth in her district. 20 or 30 youth in her district come with her on this pilgrimage, because you know that each one must teach one. And our young people cannot ever let this be forgotten. We have to make sure that we bring them along. And you do that best, Barbara. You do that not only with the young folks in your district, you do that with young little black girls from Selma who know that they walk the halls of Congress because of what happened on a bridge in her hometown. And I thank you for that. never ever will forget you. We love Barbara Lee. Barbara Lee, speak for me. Barbara Lee, speak for me.
I would like all of the children to come. First, I'm almost speechless.
Never.
Because this tribute, today I feel the ancestors. I feel those that all of those who paid the price so that myself and Terri could be members of Congress. This is who I am thinking of today, and who I am grateful to, and who I give honor to. Because without them, I would not be, and Terri would not be. And so thank you for this very humbling moment, this humbling honor. I've been here at least 18 times in this beautiful museum, and never did I think this would be about me being inducted to the Women's Hall of Fame. I mean, this is like remarkable. You just don't know what it means. I mean, I have a primary on Tuesday in California, and I'm here. And I want to thank you and your team and the Jubilee Bridge Crossing Committee and everyone. Not only for today, but for what you do each and every day to really remind our children and remind the world of where it all started, really. I want to say to Terri, my sister, first of all, you know, voting rights. I was born and raised in El Paso, Texas. I remember the poll tax. I remember what the deal was. And the Voting Rights Act has just gutted. And I have seen Terri. She has just beat with Bush on Capitol Hill and throughout the country to make sure that H.R. 4 was not only introduced, but was passed with a majority of, I think, all Democrats voting for it. And so it wouldn't have happened had it not been for Terri. Also, your congressperson is on the Ways and Means Committee, and this is the taxes appropriated, I spend, but she does the raising of the revenue, and she does a remarkable job. But as an appropriator, Terri comes to Barbara Lee and says, look, my community needs this. Give me that $25 million for that. Selma, you know, she will not let me rest because she knows and she loves this community and she finds every single federal dollar she can find to bring home. And so I just want to thank you for keeping us woke, Terri, and keeping us focused on where really it all began for all of us as African Americans. This daughter of Selma is an amazing member of Congress who, yeah, she takes a lot of risks too, but she does what is right constantly. And so it's really an honor and a pleasure to serve with her. She has been to Oakland, and Selma really has a presence. I want you to know, Rose, in Oakland, California, because Terri's been there, my kids come here, and we're very closely connected with so much of the work that takes place here. So thank you so much. I want to just share a couple of things. First, my mother. I can't help but think about my mother. She passed away 5 years ago. My mother, I mentioned I was born and raised in El Paso, Texas. My Allen Temple family's here from Oakland. Yay! Good to see you. But when I was born, and I'm going to tell you, so you may get a sense of why I have no option of doing what I do. I was born in El Paso, Texas. My mother needed a C-section. When she went to the hospital, they would not admit her because she was black. Finally, after a long fight by my grandmother, whose father, you know this story, was Irish. You know what that's all about. My grandmother said, this is my daughter, let her in. And they couldn't figure out who was who. So they let my mother in, but they left her up on what she called a gurney in the hall. No one attended to her, no doctor, no nurse, no one. She became delirious, she became unconscious. Someone saw her, said, what is going on? They pulled her in, not into the delivery room, but into the emergency room. And my mother almost died. They had to deliver me, because it was too late for a C-section. They had to deliver me using forceps. And I had a scar above my eye up until a few years ago. Now, bottom line is, my mother almost died. I almost didn't get into this world. I barely got here. And it's because of racism and injustice that I never almost made it. And so I have no option but to fight for what is right, for justice and for freedom, for women, for black men, for everyone, because that's just who I am. And so it doesn't being inducted into the Hall of Fame, the Women's Hall of Fame, is quite humbling and an honor for me, Rose. But just let me tell you, I ain't got no option. My grandfather was a member of the NAACP. My mother went on, she was one of the first 12 students to integrate the University of Texas at El Paso. And my family was involved in the desegregation of public facilities in El Paso, the first city in Texas to desegregate. Went to California, ended up not being able to become a cheerleader in high school. You know why? Because I didn't look right. I went to the NAACP at 14 years old. And I said, I want to be a cheerleader. And the selection committee only selects girls with blonde hair and blue eyes. And so the NAACP and I worked together and we figured out something and we organized. That was my first organizing. And we went up to that school and we told my high school, you're gonna change the rules. You're gonna change the rules. And they fought back. They kept fighting and said, no, 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 we have our own committee. Well, I organized black students. We got those rules changed where the student body would then elect the cheerleaders. So I tried out. Guess what? I won. I was the first black cheerleader at Selma High School. But that year, a Japanese American student won. And I'm sharing this story because it's like everywhere, every step of the way, like so many here in Selma, we just have to fight. But when we fight, we win. You know, when we fight, we win. Then I went and worked with the Black Panther Party. And I was a community worker, power to the people. And was Bobby Seale's fundraising coordinator. Bagged groceries during the survival rallies. Worked with Elaine Brown. Oh yeah, no, I'm out there in the streets of Oakland while I was going to school on public assistance with my 2 little kids going to college. But I was determined that not only was I going to fight for change and to eliminate racism and sexism, but I wanted to fight to eliminate structural racism and institutional racism and all the institutions of this country that so badly needed changing. And so I consider myself still a revolutionary because I think that we need revolutionary change in this country. I think reparations, HR 40 is something and so we just have to keep going. And I'm so glad to see Reverend Dr. Ben Chambers here because I remember Ben fighting with the Wilmington 10 on so many fronts and being involved in the Defense Committee, flying to Burgon, North Carolina to be a character witness in Ben's case. I'll never forget that. But Ben fought and he fought and he fought. And the community is still fighting. The community came out and fought. And finally, Ben and the Wilmington 10 were free. And so it's really an honor and a pleasure to see you here today, Ben. And thank you for staying the course. Finally, I'll just say to you, I really hope that we take this moment, and Terri mentioned where we are politically, and see this as a defining moment for us as people of African descent. Because we have come so far as a result of what happened here and took place here, right on this bridge. And we're not going to go back. We're going to honor those who came before us. We're going to show them that they did not spill their blood in vain. We're going to show them that we are standing on their shoulders and we're going to take this baton and carry it forward until justice is done. Because we have got a long way to go and we cannot disappoint them. We have to remember, I guess, I'm thinking of Dr. Maya Angelou, what she said, and still we rise, no matter what, and all the hate out there, and all the bitterness, and all the trauma, and the hostilities, and still we rise, we still rise, and we're going to keep fighting. And with this 100th anniversary of the right, of women gaining the right to vote, well, Black women didn't have the right to vote for 40 years after that, and still we rise. It's 40 years after that. But we're here.
Amen.
And we're here to stay. Goodness.
And we have